Welcome back.
We're back. We're back. We're back.
This is episode 5.
6, right?
No, 5.
Oh, man.
Last one I said
count.
4 or 5. I lost count, but this is definitely 5.
They're starting to...
I remember thinking, let's get to 10. Let's get to 10. We're halfway there.
Woo! Feels like just yesterday we were starting this bad boy.
I reorganized my closet today to make sure that I never rewear the same T-shirt on a podcast.
Very Mark Zuckerberg of you.
So we're going to see how many podcasts we get to when I run out of T-shirts to wear.
I like that. Or as a power move, you could do like the Doug Funny where you just have the same clothes, same outfit every time. And then every time you come on the pod, people are like,
yeah.
Does Joe
I don't know, I
change?
kind of like it where like the shirt just same T-shirt. Like I'm not going to wear any long sleeves.
Is this the cuts? You wearing cuts today?
Yeah, they're all cut. It's going to be all my cut short
Sponsor
sleeve
us.
T-shirts.
Let's see if we can get
I don't know exactly how many I have, but I'll know once I run through them all.
What would be our discount code? Scoundrels? 10% off?
Yeah.
From the
Scoundrels
cuts.
15. Something
So,
like
dude,
that.
tell me about. So, I heard from a little bird. You visited the vault this weekend.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. How was it? Better than last time? Thoughts?
Better. I no longer a secret.
Okay.
A lot of our friends have gone now, or they went with me on Friday.
Yeah.
So word has gotten out. I told myself that, for those that don't know, the vault is basically like an underground nightclub that's been operating
last
over the past
episode.
few weekends.
Reference Vinay episode 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, episode 3. But we go. I told myself the thing with going there is the past 2 times I went before this time, it kind of just ruined my whole weekend. Not ruined the whole weekend, but I could never get like fully back energized after staying up till 5 a.m. or whatever both times I went.
Yeah.
And you can't, I feel like it's hard to get out of there and not stay. It's hard to go there and not stay up till 5 a.m.
100%.
You know?
I don't think your body physically would let you. Like, you're naturally trained to be like, so you're so stimulated in there. We've got DJs blaring, places full of people.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's something
people
you haven't
that
done
high
in a
energy.
year.
Yeah. It's like every stimuli in your body is like firing.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And I thought to myself, maybe if I just don't drink or don't drink as much, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I can stay up and then be fine to operate the next day. Or at least like I can operate the next day, but not at my full energy.
Did it work?
That I have on Friday.
Like, would you go back? So were you sober or you were drinking, just you didn't get hammered? Like,
yeah.
normal?
So I wanted to, the thing with going out sober, and honestly, Vinay does this all the time.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice how when we did the ski house that he didn't really drink at all?
No. What?
Dude, watch him.
That is
He
wild.
doesn't, he'll drink, but it's very mildly.
I feel like I just found like the theory of relativity. That is, what?
Go back to Hunter and think about Vinay. Was he ever
I don't know.
hammered?
If I look at the pictures, he looked pretty hammered.
No, he wasn't. Not at all. We were sleeping in the same room and we were talking about it.
Fascinating.
He just doesn't.
Interesting.
He's very good at sort of maintaining his like
like he's just fun
his
without booze.
he's fun without the need for booze.
That's an impressive trait. I like that.
Yeah. And really, I think booze, what it does is it lowers your inhibitions.
Yeah.
And it makes you looser and less socially.
Well, that's what I hear cocaine is for.
Yeah. It's less you're less socially conscious. You're more willing to say things or talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to. It just takes down walls. And that's why people like it.
I would argue. Oh, yeah. Correct. Yeah. Agreed.
But a true master of oneself shouldn't need it.
Oh my God, Jedi, dude.
You know what I mean?
Sensei.
And I was like,
preach.
And
bro.
I knew that I was going to the vault with like a fun group of people. And I was like, I'm going to try to not drink and then see if it's just as fun.
So what'd you find?
You know, first of all, I did not drink completely. You have to drink in order to not drink, because I didn't want to say I was not drinking in front of the friend group.
Of course, yeah.
Because then you get
awkward.
you get pressured on to drink. So we went to a buddy's apartment beforehand. I had a beer, maybe two, and then there was like 2 like ceremonial shots with the group kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was I guess I had a little buzz, but I was fine.
Yeah.
And then we walk in there, and you know how when you walk in, there's like a mass of people trying to get drinks at the bar.
Yeah.
They all went to grab drinks at the bar, and like I stayed away. Like I think at one point I might have went and got one round for the group because it was my turn.
Yeah.
But overall, I just stayed away from the bar, and I think the whole time I was in there from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., I maybe had 2 beers.
Dude, yeah, the bar there's a black hole too. Like if you can avoid it, that place, like I mean,
yeah.
last time we went, like we got stuck in line. Like I remember just like not wanting to get put in one place when there was so much going on. So I was just like kind of circling around you guys, like keeping you guys in line of sight, but just like also scoping out the room, just kind of like doing around to see like what was going on.
Yeah.
And just remember thinking like, I mean, you guys were there for like almost like 20 minutes, maybe even like 30 minutes. Just
dude,
there's
I
2
feel like
bartenders
it takes like a half hour.
Like, you know, would fill a small bar in like any other time. Like it's a ton of people.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. So let me ask you this, coming from that, like, would you do this again? Do you think that's the right move to go?
Yeah. So what I did,
drunk?
I remember when I walked in there, immediately when you walk in, you kind of feel like the social anxiety, like in a crowd of people, and you're like, fuck, I could really just chug like 3 beers right now. But I was like, no. And I waited patiently for like, for one of our buddies to get like the first round of drinks. Yeah. And then I just was like, all right, everyone just follow me. And I just led everyone to the dance floor. Love that. I just like stationed everyone right in the center of the dance floor in front of the DJ. I remember I kind of like forced myself to like dance and like get loose for like 15 minutes. And then after that, it was amazing.
That's good.
And then it was like, we made ourselves a center. So like people were coming in and talking to us, and like,
that's awesome.
We were kind of with our friends, but mingling with people at the same time. How
large was the group?
5 guys, 4 girls.
So that's 10, would you say, or 9, but like
9
almost
us,
10. Would you say that's like the sweet spot number, or would you say that like
it was a good number? It was a good 9. Number to where
maybe one more for like roundholdness, like roundedness.
Yeah. And then what you notice is like by 2 a.m. I'm pretty much dead sober by like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was just noticing how sloppy people get
when
you're in that. I'm in that in that club dark dance floor, and then I remember thinking around, I guess it was like midnight, I was thinking, man, there's a lot of girls around here. And then around like 1, you notice all the guys start to float in from the bar area, and they're just like scanning the room and
hair of the dog effect, dude.
Doing loops around, and their like eyes are glazed over and they're like slobbering. And
oh man, for that reference, Hair of the Dog in New York is a bar where is notorious for gentlemen showing up at about 4 a.m. And if you walk in there, there's about 10 girls to 50 guys, and they're all frothing at the mouth and like just no regard for life. They're just like, it is just absolutely, which is what this kind of set. But I mean, like, it's natural, right? Like, I feel like that's when your buzz usually sets in around that 1 a.m.
Yeah. But
2 o'clock
being sober just made me notice it.
That would bother me. I don't know. I guess my big bugaboo is that, like, love that word, is basically like when I'm the only sober guy, and I've been there before, like I've done like a sober dry month before, all that stuff, is just like I get a little more annoyed with everyone. Like I kind of pick up on people's drunkenness more.
For sure. Dude, I was trying to talk to, I remember just trying to talk to people, and they're just like slurring words, and I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. And I just have to tell myself, like, nope, this is what they do. Don't get annoyed.
This is
Don't
normal.
get annoyed. Don't get annoyed.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But in the end, I was like looking at all the guys circling the room. Like, I'm glad I'm not in that position.
I might try this
now.
with you sometime. I might have to. I might have to give this a shot. Yeah. It just takes a special person, like the patience. Like, I don't know. I'm with you. Like, part of my drinking, like, sorry, I'm not an alcoholic, is like because it just gives me like the, you know, like it helps me be more social and like helps the curb like the anxiety of like, you know, and I think too makes me just like kind of like, just makes me a little more like just level setted versus like usually I'm very like on and up. And so it's like, I don't know. My boozing has a method to its madness, I'd like to think, but I also, it'd be interesting to go there and.
Yeah. What I found is it was like, I had to get over the hump. Yeah. And once I remember we were on the dance floor, and then they played like 3 Taylor Swift songs in a row, and I got like real into it.
Yeah.
And that was when it was like, all right, I'm good. I'm at the same kind of, my inhibitions have been lowered now.
Nice.
You know?
Maybe that's where I'll make my DJ debut. Yeah. I'm going to go into DJing and I'm just going to do one of those parties.
Yeah.
But you have any news for us, by the way?
NYC legalized weed.
Hell yeah.
No. I think they're voting on it today.
I thought they pushed it forward. They were New York City
They're
legalize.
planning to. I don't know if it's official yet. I could be wrong.
Might not be official. But I mean, all the outlets reported is like,
yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they opened vaccine restrictions now. So old men like me over at 30 can now like get vaccinated, and then 16 and over is next week.
April 6th. Yeah.
April 6th. But just want to say, like, today, trying to book a fucking vaccine, it's worse than a Coachella line. I was sitting there on 4 different websites, refreshing. Walgreens, CVS, fucking New York Gov, Javits. Like, I had 8 different sites. It was literally like trying to buy a Coachella ticket. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, refresh. Fucking captchas coming up every like 5 minutes, and I couldn't get it. And finally, I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just gonna infect people and become a fucking super spreader. Like, I'm over this shit. I'd rather just get antibodies again than have and wait 6 months to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Not actually, but it's like, I'm pissed that New York doesn't have a better way to fucking solve this problem.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a better way than competing for like Jordans, where it's like people clearly had bots. Like, every time I clicked into probably about 40 different time slots and got denied every time within a second. Like, people don't have that fast of hands. Like, those are bots, like taking spots and then like dropping them later. Wonder. It was a nightmare. Like, I got to a point where I probably spent like an hour of my day doing that, and it was just like I almost threw my computer through the wall.
Yeah, I browsed it briefly and then just saw no spots.
Oh, it's awful. But on the exciting news, though, the main topic, New York legalizing weed, which I'm excited about mostly because of the revenue generation. Back when California legalized weed, which I voted for, was the monetary value of it, it's a it's like a $6 billion business, and which is, a top 500 company, like in the US, it's an S&P 500 company easily, like, and basically most of these cities are smoking it by not being able to collect taxes on this stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. Venmo with cash transaction happens over the table. And like the taxation in California is like 40%. Like, there's a couple of like, let's call it like, it's ease. It's like the Uber deliveries of Uber Eats of weed.
Yeah.
They deliver it to you, and you're getting taxed almost like double. I mean, it's 40% tax. It's crazy. So like 40% off the top of every $100 you spend, like $40 of that, it goes to Uncle Sam. It's stupid. So it's just like, or not even Uncle Sam, just California. Our boy, what's his face?
Cuomo?
No, Newsom, fuckhead.
Oh, yeah.
But now Cuomo's, going to be a part of that. But yeah, that was his main thing for saying, was basically because he'd pushed out all of the money out of New York. He basically, he needed to figure out new streams of revenue.
Yeah, it's smart.
It makes sense. I mean, the other thing too, right, is like, I've heard like the weed in New York is pretty shitty. So I think bringing in some medicinal, like more quality stuff is probably better. It's probably a little bit safer than letting some random guy you've never met before into your apartment. Like, he reeks of BO. He's been running around the city the whole time, just like handing out fucking edibles and shit. And now, like, there's just a little bit of like, it's hit or miss. Like, it's just, I think it's a little bit of a safer process. You're kind of allowing for more. And then on top of it, like, the income that it's going to come bring in will ideally offset some of the other shit that could potentially price, like, maybe some of the COVID stuff that I'm concerned as a taxpayer who's probably in a mid-upper bracket, like, I'm going to have to foot the bill for. Yeah. So I think in that sense, like, and I still, oh my fucking God. And I still can't get a fucking appointment for a vaccine. I'm paying for this shit. Frustrating as fuck. And your stimulus fucking checks. Yeah. God damn. Anyways, sorry, I ranted.
Are you, have you ever gotten in trouble because of weed? Because I was thinking about today about all the people that have gotten in trouble in the previous.
But what'll be interesting is like, what are they going to do at all the people that are incarcerated? Because
I think they said they're gonna reevaluate or release, or they're gonna get rid of the charges.
I'm not sure California did anything for that stuff.
Yeah.
Or like,
I remember specifically reading New York is going to do that. They said.
Because, I mean, like, the thing, too, is, like, there's so many people that, like, I mean, marijuana has become so much more socially accepted in the last 15 years, 20 years, versus, like, back in the 70s when it was, like, a Schedule I federal I think it's still a Schedule I federal drug, which means it's in the same class as, like, LSD. I think it might even be in, like, heroin's class. Like, it's a full-on felony with, like, after a certain amount. I could be a little bit off on some of this. But, like, you know, point being that it's you know, these just antiquated laws from the 70s when they thought marijuana was so bad that have carried over. So people are, you know, basically in the middle of, like, 30-year sentences and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Never made, you know,
a lot
like,
of these can
been
fuck
denied
up your life.
parole. And it's, like, it's just insane to see how much based on, like, I think social pressure. And then on top of that, like, obviously, like, scientific research that has gone into this that has proven that it's, like, there's benefits for you. I mean, it's obviously an aid if you have, like, if you have cancer or, like, anything like terminal. Like, I specifically have not gotten in trouble for anything weed related, but I do remember, like, I guess I can say it doesn't matter. My brother once, like, getting caught with weed and me not understanding because I was young, and that was, I mean, it's
by the parents
trouble,
or by
my parents.
Yeah.
And that was, like, a whole ordeal. I was, like, 10. And so maybe even younger. Like, I didn't even know what it was. I might have been the one who ratted him out because he wouldn't let me play his PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I found it and was like, he'd, like, hid it under his bed in between, like, a crevice or something. And I was like, Alex has something in his bed. Like, I didn't know what it was. Or my mom might have found it. My mom's, like, a good snoop. She has a good nose for shit and, like, somehow finds everything. Which is, like, good because now I know where to hide, like, shit creatively. Yeah. Because, like, I know all my mom's spots. Like, I've got to hope she's not listening to this. I got a jerk off sock that I have to hide every time and then throw out because when I go home, because I'm like, you know, you still got to, like, manage your human impulses, but I cannot fucking have my mom knowing I do that kind of thing. But I digress. I'm trying to think if I know anybody's gotten in serious trouble. No, I mean, like, especially in California where, like, weed is so popular and I think just, like, becomes so recreational. Like, everybody I know who's ever gotten, like, been with weed usually hasn't been, like, selling too much or, like, had just right under the amount. And then, like, on top of that, like, usually gets, like, a slap on the wrist, maybe, like, goes to court for a little, like, I had to know people, like, got to court but, like, never got in trouble. The other one now is, like, more popular because you can grow, like, 3 plants, which you can now. New York is the new one. So I had a couple buddies who, like, their like, quarantine hobby was to start growing weed.
Yeah, I have a buddy that's doing that.
I had a buddy be like, I could send you some plants. I was like, dude, maybe. Like, no, they've never tried it.
I had one close call when I was, like, 19, like 19, 20. Dude, I was a loser. Like, I was just going to community college and, like, working in a grocery store, had, like, no fucking idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Totally.
And I could kind of sense that if I didn't do something soon, like, I was just going to end up, like, stuck. Yeah. And then I joined the Air Force, or the Air National Guard to be specific. And then I was about to go through basic training. I was like maybe a month away from shipping off. And I had just taken a drug test, like, on, like, my home base. And then I think it was maybe 3 weeks before I was about to ship off, I was trying to hang out with this girl that I had, like, liked for a while. And we make, like, a time to hang out, and it's, like, late at night. And I pick her up and we, like, drive, like, a half hour out to, like, the Waffle House. Oh, and we, like, get, like, the all-star, like, chocolate chip waffle, like, whatever. And I buy her, like, I stop at the 7-Eleven. I buy her, like, a pack of Marlboro menthol, like, 100s.
Hundreds.
And then we go back to her place, but her, like, parents are home. And then she has, no shit, like, a tree house in, like, the backyard, and I, like, have to pull up quietly, like, with the headlights off, and, like, park down the street. And then we, like, go up and hang out in her tree house, and she, like, rips out a bowl, and I'm, like, just trying to do whatever I can to, like, make this girl like me. So I'm like, maybe I'll, like, take, like, a fake hit. And then I ended up, like, just, like, smoking, like, a decent bit of it. Just because I was being stupid. Like, it was such a stupid thing to do. I remember the next day, it was unrelated, but she had left the cigarettes in my glove box. and my mom found them in my car.
Oh no.
It was like screaming at me. And like, I hate cigarettes.
Yeah.
I've always hated cigarettes. But I had to answer that one. But anyway, like 3 weeks later, I go off to basic training, and I didn't know this, but like second day they make you take another piss test.
Oh shit.
And dude, my chest like just sank down to my stomach. And I remember like going and taking the piss test and then like just waiting. And then like the next day, like 24 hours later, when you're in basic training, you're kind of put up in like, you're in like a flight is what they call it. You're like, I think it's like 60 guys, and you're all in like a big room with like bunk beds, and it's just like in the movies.
Holy shit. Yeah.
But I remember they called one guy in, and he left, and then they called another guy, and he left. And then I'm just like sitting in my like standing near like my bunk bed, just sweating. And then they didn't call anybody else.
Oh,
and then those two guys left, never to be heard from again.
So there's 2 days in a row of piss tests. They kind of, you think you're free after the first
one.
one.
Well, no, I got one beforehand, and then there's you get one on like the second day you arrive in basic training.
Holy shit.
And then they got 2 guys who were just discharged, never to be heard from again. But I was just like, thank God I don't do it regularly. I think it was out of my system by then, but
I don't think that's how it works, dude. I think you just didn't do it. I think you thought you did it, and you did, like, THC stays in your system for 30 days.
Yeah, but I also like, I don't do it daily. I think if you do it every once in a while, I don't know. Regardless, it didn't pick it up. But my life would have been drastically different if it would have picked that up.
Do you think if it becomes federally legal, do you think the Army loosens its grip on that?
They're still strict about it. Like I remember, dude, after that time in the treehouse, I didn't smoke it for like 6 years. I didn't touch it for like 6 years.
Yeah, that's scary. No, I mean
until I got out.
That's the other fascinating part, right? Like I think I was talking to my dad. There was someone I was talking to about it that was basically like, when California legalized it, like employers were still like, no, we're still going to piss test. Like, which like my stance on it is kind of like, I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, 2000s. So like for me, my argument is that realistically, I think alcohol is a worse drug than weed. I've seen it be more destructive. I've seen it do worse things. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people do worse things on it. Where
for sure.
Whether or not, like, you know, my own personal thing, it's like I've just seen more horrific things happen on it, or at least it's been reported more. So I think I think it's going to be interesting, but it's definitely going to be, I think it's going to be growing pains, you know, kind of the same things as anything else. Like boomers just take a little bit to adjust, and right now they're the lawmakers. Yeah. There's just going to be it's going to take time and reform. And so, like, hot take, if you can, buy cannabis stocks, because this is just one more cog in the wheel for what will eventually be federal legislation and federal approval. And then now you're going to have these fucking massive, suddenly these $2 stocks, $15 stocks are going to fucking balloon because
if you pick the right companies. So
huge. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's a new one that pops up every day. I'd recommend Canopy, Tilray, Aurora. There's another one that someone mentioned to me the other day. But anyways, like it's a good booming market and now's the time. I think it's always the time to get best. You know, I got in 18 when California was about to legalize it, or 16, and my rate of return is probably really low, if anything. But like those are holds that, who knows? Maybe it'll be I'll join my Bitcoin for my yacht.
Did you watch the college admissions scandal doc?
Yeah, dude, that's the new hot fucking thing right now. I loved it,
dude. I had no idea how that. I knew it happened. I had no idea like how it went down. It's so much more corrupt than I actually thought it was.
Same. Yeah, I thought it was just like, I thought it was just people playing on the team. I didn't realize, I think where the drew the line, spoiler alert. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. We didn't do spoilers.
It's like when like I realized the guy was taking tests for people.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, oh, that's fucked.
Yeah, dude, insane.
And the lawyer who's just like, I mean, like, I believe in playing by the rules and blah, blah, blah. But like, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but he said he'd done this for 20 years, 200 times, and all these Goldman people had been doing it. Like, I don't know. It's just fascinating.
To me, it's fascinating that these parents like care that much. Does that make sense?
I'm not
I
shocked.
can't relate to that at all.
I can't relate to it, but in a weird way. And like,
it's like the parents
horrible to
care.
say.
more than the kids. Like a lot of the kids didn't even know that this was going on.
So I'm going to bring this back to something that's probably going to really fucking haunt me. This is like what I would call like an elite level of whiteness that I'll never understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I personally, like complexionally, I look white, so I'm afforded certain things, which like I'm not happy about. And it's like, I want to fight the system, blah, blah, blah. But like my last name is Martinez. Like there's a lot of like doors that are still closed for me. Until probably I reach like, you know, till my net worth is where it'll be and then it'll change. Sure. But like, I think there's like a certain status that like, you know, never growing up in that society of eliteness.
Yeah.
Just never really like, something we'll never understand. But there is like, you have this image and like this prestige that you have to uphold. Like, can you imagine Lori Loughlin showing up to a dinner party and her daughter goes to Northridge, Cal State Northridge?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
like
that's what it feels like.
She'd be the laughing fucking stock, or goes to community college. Like in her mind, she would feel so uncomfortable. It'd be like in the mind of an elite person like that, if your kid is so much less than everybody else, it's like almost driving a, you know, fucking Pinto in a room full of Teslas. Like you just feel like you're inferior, like you're almost naked in front of the class, which I think all of these people felt. Like, I mean, I just can't imagine also, like, my favorite was the kids who, like having to read the transcripts and then reading, like, their parents being like, yeah, like, my kid's just dumb.
Dude, it
like,
literally
my
felt like...
younger daughter's smart, but my older daughter's an idiot. Like, fuck.
It literally felt like they're doing this more so that they can
it's for them.
Tell the other parents at the country club or whatever that my kid's going to Harvard or whatever it is.
That was the root of the sentencing, because at the end it tells you what everybody got, and I think like the crux of it comes down to like, I think they just realized that like these people were doing this for themselves, not for the kids. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I would assume that's what the judge saw, because she even
I don't blame the kids.
Who,
I don't blame
like,
the kids for this at all.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens too. Like the thing that got me at the end was like the people that were pleaded not guilty. I'm so curious.
Yeah, they have to go through the whole process. I'm sure
it's still ongoing. It's one of the better documentaries I've seen in a long time. I was hooked, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird.
What was your biggest takeaway?
Just how like kind of. It had me thinking a lot about like what is the value of a college education and what do you actually get from it, and what is it actually versus what you get in society from it. Because I remember like before I moved to New York, like I never knew anyone who went to an Ivy League school.
Yeah. And
I had this thing in my head that if I was back in Pennsylvania and someone said, hey, yeah, I went to Harvard or I went to Yale, I would like assume that person is just like a new level of genius that I'll never get to. Yeah. And like in New York,
I've run into some Harvard dumbasses.
Dude, I know plenty of people who went to Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
They are no smarter and no dumber than I am or anybody else.
That's the thing that I think makes me want to bang my head against the wall a lot, is like when I meet someone at an Ivy and like you're into a lot in New York and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and they're not like, I guess maybe there are.
But like you're going to get that. You have this investment banking job and all this shit. And it's like, it's all because of who like your parents paid off and your last name. And because, and they say it really well, systemically, like you just had a little bit more privilege that you went to like these really good schools, like prep schools and all this stuff that are feeder schools. And we had all this access to education that the test is built for. Yeah. Like if your curriculum is taught to basically teach you everything that's going to be on the SAT, of course you're going to test well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like
so much of, at least where I'm from, and I believe it's the same in a lot of like poor communities, is there's no, like, it's not like these kids can't get into these schools. It's just there's no education on how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like you aren't taught, like growing up, I was never thought in a million years that going to Penn or like Yale was a possibility.
Oh, same.
Number one, because I was like, I'm not smart enough to do that. But really, if I had it drilled into my head from the time I was in middle school, hey, when you're in high school, get these grades and do these activities. And if I had someone pushing me, I probably could have gotten good enough grades to get accepted. And then I obviously paying for it, I would assume that that's completely out of reach.
Do you think you know anybody or you can pinpoint somebody after watching the doc that you were like, oh fuck, I think that guy paid their way into where they went to school?
Like personally?
Yeah. You don't have to name drop, but maybe like
I don't want to say the school or the name, and I can tell you after, but yeah.
Really? Do you have a story of when you were like, how? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but I am almost positive I personally know someone. Yeah.
It might be like the new insult. Like when someone is like really like annoying or like you really don't like them, like your fucking parents paid for you to get into school. It might be like the new fuck you.
Yeah. I hate that living here, I now look at, and I shouldn't because you can't help where you came from, but I look at people that grew up like that and I'm like, I got a little bit of an edge on you.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of I've worked a little bit harder than you
I mean, the nice part too is like the real world is, I mean, I'd like to think it's a good equalizer, but at the same time, like it's kind of the same bullshit. Like how many people do we know? I mean, it's all about your network, you know? It's like,
and that's the thing that these schools give you.
They do. Yeah.
That's what they give you.
Because when you're fucking riding on a yacht with Johnny Mars or someone whose fucking dad owns the company that creates M&Ms, like, like, there you go. Like, and your guys are boys. Like, now suddenly when he needs somebody for his company, he's going to bring you up. Or like when he needs this, you know, like suddenly you're in the same circles of things that like, and I mean, like, it's wild.
Yeah. There's literally nothing in these schools that makes them harder, like a harder coursework than like a regular state school.
What I find fascinating too is like, I've always known, I don't know if you know this and they don't say in the documentary, but like Stanford doesn't really give grades. They're just like pass fail basically, which is like, basically just have to like show up for class and like don't have to, you know, I mean like they like a lot of, I don't know if Harvard's the same because I don't know as many Harvard people, but like Stanford is a lot of like, it's the known thing people would say it's like harder to get into. And once you're in there, it's like not hard.
Yeah.
Which like,
that's what I've heard too.
You know, it's just like one of those
That's what I've heard about Harvard.
And like, how many different curriculum can you teach, right? Like at the end of the day, like if you're a math major, math is all the same answer from the same way. Like there's no deviation to get from the Pythagorean theorem to get A, you have the hypotenuse, AB equals C. Like there's no fucking way around it. There's no X or Y. And there's a different one. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like whether you get that education at Yale or like at a fucking community college, you're still taking the same textbook potential, like in some cases, to get to the same answer. It's just like $50,000 more, and you now get a job at Goldman Sachs and all the top investment firms and PE firms.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all networks, and then these
crazy.
You know, these the upper echelon of wealthy kids get pushed into these schools by their parents, and that's what creates their edge.
Yeah, we'll say though, like one of the things I took from the doc, and maybe because of like the way I think about things, I was just like, I'm gonna get my kids to start playing obscure sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
Like, you know how many like the guys recruiting people? It's like my kid probably doesn't need that good of grades, but if he's really good at crew, he can easily just get in by being good at crew and like or like. Talk about equestrian shit, like riding horses, sailing.
Yeah,
like it's kind of fascinating. Where I was
cricket,
just like,
whatever. Yeah,
like just look up obscure sports that these schools fund, and just like that's our ticket in, kid. Like you're going to Harvard, you're gonna learn Jai.
Yeah,
and like we're gonna get you a Scully.
Do you think the side note? Do you think the college system is broken, and if so, how do we fix it?
How do we fix it? That's
basically the.
Do I think it's broken? Yeah. But in the same way that the world's broken, right? Like you've got all these systemic issues that like the problem is like they were put in place ages ago. They've proven true. I mean, I think there's something to be said for, you know, I mean, like aptitude isn't everything. I think the SAT is bullshit. In that same sense, like, but at the same time, like, how do you get the holistic view of if you're a top tier school, you've got hundreds of thousands of applicants, like you got to interview them all, and then like how do you take?
It's just a way to weed. It's just a way to weed down the applicant pool.
Yeah. So I know that there's some schools, at least through 2020, I think Michigan Ross was one of them that like we're talking about doing away with the GMAT and like some other components, which is impressive. But then like, then now your college or your like high school grades weigh a little more, which like, is that really the right metric as well?
Yeah, man.
It's broken. It's tough. I don't think there's an easy answer. I mean, I'm like probably the least academic person that we know. So
but it's still
like any institution.
You have to, I still think that you need a bachelor's degree to like kind of take that. Obviously not in all cases, but for the most part, you need it to kind of ascend into that middle class.
Dude, nowadays it's like, it is extremely hard to get a job without a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
You can have all the experience in the world, unless you have your own company. It's almost impossible. Like I think someone was saying like McDonald's or Starbucks was requiring like bachelor's degree now. Like there's some type of like fast food chain that was like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. It just makes it tough on people. Cause I know so many like smart kids who just weren't like pushed the right way to like go to college or like
and the cost of college, like college is so expensive that it's like the other issue is the price of higher education is absurd, is just like not affordable, which is one of the big knocks on the US. It's like you got Canada and Australia that basically, not Australia, I think Canada offers free higher education or something, or there's some kind of like state funded. There's somebody that does that. Basically the US gets knocked on like the outrageous prices for college.
Yeah, they definitely need to come down. I wonder if because of the pandemic they will or not. Because I knew someone was saying, I heard from somebody they went up. I mean, I heard they were still charging full tuition for online classes, which is absurd.
It's crazy. There's no fucking way. I'd have my kid do a gap year. If I was a parent coming into COVID and I figured was told I had to pay $55,000 for my kid to attend a private university, there's no way, and be like live in my fucking house where like that's not even like, you're not paying room and board now. You're not like, he doesn't have a meal plan. Like that is straight up like my bottom line. Like this dude, kid's just bleeding me money now. Like he better fucking work or do something. Cause it's like, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. That shit would drive me crazy. The back door is real, right? That's the other thing too. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, you know, I mean, obviously not everybody has like $100-200 million, but like, bro, my thought on that though is if I donate $200 million and my kid doesn't get into fucking school, that should be a crime.
Yeah.
I should be able.
That should be a crime.
I should be able. It's not like a stock. Like, I mean, it's treated like an investment, but if they take your money like that, like I think at a certain point you should be like, hey, like, dude, I gave these people money. They can't just like take it from you like that. They had no problem accepting it, but they won't let my kid go to school there. Like, that's fucked.
Yeah. Have you ever donated to your alma mater?
I think I gave $5 once. they were trying to reach some milestone goal, and you know, like I love my alma mater. Like I got big pride in my college. Shout out. Hopefully one day they make the tournament again. But like I love it. So like I don't feel bad about donating, but I also get annoyed with how much they hit me up. Like, I'm talking like I used to get calls every week. I think they figured out that like this kid's just
dude, they're merciless. Not gonna
give me Dude, they fucking have college kids calling me at the call center where like an 18-year-old kid would be like,
dude, they have interns do it. Yeah.
Mr. Martinez. I'm just like, dude, I do not know. It's like, I'm making just like a little over what you're making, dude. If you factor in like your parents giving you allowance every week, like how am I going to donate money?
Yeah.
This is back in the day. I think they got better about it, but I mean like, I donated like barely anything. I think eventually I will. Also we have a big tie to legacies in my alma mater. So like, I'd love for my kid to go there, but also like, like, we'll see. Like
you're not going to send him somewhere with more prestige.
I would, if he had the grades and it was his thing. Like, I mean, what
would my kid goes into an Ivy League.
I'm not going to be like, go to the school
country club.
Honestly, yeah, I'd probably talk a lot of shit. Like, you can't see us like gathering around a table and I'm like, Anthony Jr. Just came back from Brown last week. He was hanging out with Emma Watson. You wouldn't believe it. When Guardian Leviosa her ass. It's like,
dude, I couldn't do it. I was watching that and I was like, I hope that I never end up like those parents.
Oh no. I mean, like it's interesting. Like, I think the other thing which I find fascinating is like all those people obviously have like hundreds of millions of dollars, but I almost think they're in that like, what would be like what we would call our middle class. They're like the middle tier of being rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not rich enough to afford the back door, but they're like, ooh, there's this side door where I can kind of like give 100. I can give like 100,000, like 500K here, and I'll be fine because I can't afford 20 to 100 million. So it's like almost like that. Like they're like poor rich in a way. You know what I mean?
That's still so much money.
Like how I can't imagine that like a designer and an actress, or in the case of Leslie Jasmine, 2 actors don't make a shit ton of money. Like, and they're in like big shit. Like Felicity Huffman, like Housewives or Desperate Housewives went off.
I don't care how much money you have, though. Paying $20 million to get in the back door of Harvard is a fortune.
Agreed, but there's some people who are like $20 million billionaires. Like $20 million is nothing.
But those people in the documentary, none of them are billionaires.
Exactly, and I think
they might be 100 millionaires.
Yeah, and
which giving away 20% of your fortune. They're not going to do that.
No way.
They can't afford to do that.
No, and I mean, like the funny one was someone like, well, like. What about giving $1 million? It's like the dude was so good at being like, yeah, that's fine, but that doesn't guarantee shit.
Yeah. It's so messed up.
It's fucked, but yeah, man, shit's wild. It's good. Olivia Jade's a smoke.
Yeah. She didn't even want to go. She wanted to be an influencer. Which, ironically, she'll probably make more money from being an influencer than getting her USC degree.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, isn't that sad? She's not. I don't think she's going to go to school. I wonder if those girls, that's a good, like, we should check on that. Like, where are the sisters going to school now? They pulled out of USC.
I mean, they're Lori Loughlin's daughters. They don't need to go to college. Like, they're not going to end up.
I mean, the younger one, Olivia, probably is going to live off her Instagram. I mean, she's got a crazy amount of followers.
Yeah. But regardless, their family has enough money that they're kind of set. Yeah. You know, like that kind of wealth like translates down generations.
But oh God, which is so sad because like that girl seems like not the type of girl that should be breeding children.
Yeah. I don't know.
She just seems a little bit.
Yeah. I was just irritated watching it that these people do this, and
looks fade, dude. Her only skill is being pretty and like posing in front of a camera.
That's true. She's got a window that she can do that in.
That's it. Yeah, she better marry rich.
But I'm sure she'll do something. She'll be fine.
Maybe Stamos' kid. Love John Stamos.
Yeah, cool.
We good?
Yeah, that's it for this week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week. Tune in. Cheers.